and we make a voice call. Do you think we will continue in the series? Should we cancel it? What do people like and do not like? Let us get to know each other more. And let me tell you, Ghost, that the main goal of the Discord server is for us all to come together. Together, we are waiting for you all there. I will leave the link in the pinned comment and in the description. Let's start. The topic started when I was at the book fair last year at the signing ceremony for my new novel, Pirate's Paradise. I want to tell you that those who did not buy the novel have seriously missed a lot. The important thing is that I was very happy. When I was with you, we had such a good time together that I walked away while the exhibition was closing. It's over. Coming out of the hall and going, I found a worker standing next to me, saying to me, Sue, wait a minute. I looked behind me and found a young man who was about 16 or 17 years old. He was holding my novel and said to me, Sorry, by God, Ghost. I wanted to stay with you from the beginning of the day, but unfortunately, I stayed at work. By the time I arrived, it was 9 o'clock. Which means thank God that I joined the exhibition at all. I bought the novel and told him, Uncle, don't care, the important thing is that you came. What is your name, teacher? He said to me, My name is Salem. I said to him, Well, long live the names, Abu Salem. He said to me, Okay, I will tell you. Can you tell me the novel? I said to him, Oh, bye. My two eyes took the novel from him and passed it on to him. We stood and imagined ourselves together and sat chatting for a while. After a quarter of an hour, I said to him, Okay, you are ordering me to do something. A ghost said to me, No, may God protect you, but I'm sorry, son. Do you have a car? I said to him, Oh, I have a car. He said to me, Okay, sorry. I mean, if it has a marble, you can take me with you and show me the car. The street is outside because there is no transportation at all from here. I told him, Okay, it's okay, come with me, let's go with some car, and we moved. While on the way we started chatting. He said to me, What can I tell you, Suleiman? Why don't you write stories about the pyramids? And so I said to him, Who said that? I am making a very strong story about the cursed pyramid. He said to me, Oh, me. I thought it was good, honestly, but I want to tell you I have something for you that is much stronger than that, and it is also true. I said in secret, This is the teacher of the beginning of life. I said to him, Well, don't show me that, ghost, and tell me what is more frozen than what I am doing. He said to me, Okay, you know that there are close to the pyramids in the basement? No one knew anything about him. I told him, Well, when no one knew anything about the basement, how did you know about him? You worked for the CIA. What did he say to anyone, Salem? He told me, By the way, Suleiman, I am seriously talking about the basement. Every year a group like this comes to enter it and no one knows what they are doing underneath it. He said, You're talking seriously? He said to me, By God Almighty, I'm not lying. By the way, their high school deadline will still be 3 days away. I went to park my car on the side and told him, No, I'll tell you what. You're telling me everything in detail, teacher. He told me, Okay, I'll be present. Look, that's the whole thing. We discovered it by chance with my cousin Ramiz, who lives in his hostel. I am accustomed to going to him every once in a while and riding a horse with him and staying with him for 2 days. After that, I went and told him. He told me that the house next to it was occupied by someone named Uncle Banhawi. This man, Suleiman, is a strong stranger. I said to him, How is he a strong stranger? He told me, I am an introvert like that, and not overlapping. With someone, he talks very little and even leaves the house a little, but the strange thing is that every year in January, on the 28th, a microbus comes to him. There are about 14 people like that, foreigners, Arabs, and Egyptians, all of whom are afraid and stay with him in the house for 2 days. No one knows who they are. They would not sit with him. What should they do? When the neighbors in the area were asking him, Who is this, Uncle Benha? Strong? And what should they do with you at home? He would stay. He squeals and cheers, and I say to them, I wish everyone would leave him alone, and what do you want from me? What a whine. Honestly, Suleiman, my cousin and I were imagining what he was doing. North's needs. I told him how North. He told me, to be honest, we expected that he would hold group sex parties and film them. I told him, people are coming from the end of the world to have parties in the north. It was at my uncle's house. Your neighbor said to me, Benhawi, Sue, we won't be equal. Oh no, sorry, I'm sorry. You're right to me, Benhawi. The important thing is, He continued and then told me frankly that we were out of curiosity and we wanted to watch what was happening as long as we were out of curiosity. Yes, and indeed, Suleiman, on the day these people came, I and Ramiz, my cousin, went out on the roof of our house at dawn, and we tied a rope to the fence and jumped on the roof of the house of Benhawi. Because his house was shorter than our house, we descended from the roofs and entered the house. We found the world was dark, and now there was no room in it. It was as if it was completely empty. We felt that something was wrong. There were approximately 14 people inside this house. It is not reasonable that they all slept in the same room. At the same time, we sat around the entire last floor, because this was the first floor we entered, and we did not find any human beings. She threw away her bags and they were not there. We went down to the second floor, which was also underneath. The same thing happened. Their bags and clothes were thrown in the room, and no one was there. We went down to the ground floor, and this was the last. We noticed that 2 people were sitting at the door of the apartment. To be honest, we were afraid. It is better to reveal, and we were going to walk. But Ramiz, my cousin, stayed to consult me in a room whose door was open, and it was probably the only room that was illuminated on the ground floor. There was a lot of strong candles placed on the floor. And in the middle of the wax, there was a hole. The important thing is that we were pulled out one by one until we reached the room without the forgiveness noticing us. And there we were surprised that it was not just a hole. No, it was a narrow and long basement that descended to the bottom. We went down and sat on the first 2 stairs so that the forever would not see us at that moment. We heard someone singing from inside the basement, but it wasn't normal songs. I told him no songs, it's okay. How did he tell me? Do you know, Suleiman, the songs of the Vikings? I said to him, oh, you know them. He said to me, there is something similar to that. The important thing is that we knew. This means that the matter contains traces, and the basement definitely connects to a pharaonic tomb, and these things remain, Suleiman. You know, there is no joke. So I said to Ramiz, what should I tell you? Let's take off. Teacher, before we stood up at the same time, we heard someone screaming in a dead voice that was coming from inside the basement. We got tired and when out he left the basement quickly and we were still running. We were surprised by the forgiveness of our faces and they started grabbing us by the back of our necks and leaving the room and they kept telling us who you are and how did you come in here? We were so terrified that we couldn't speak to a single one of them. He said to his friend, what am I telling you, Abu Kasban? We are going to find out what these kids are from these markets. They saw everything. Ramiz, my cousin, said to him, don't finish what? We swear to God, we didn't see anything. We don't even know what this hole is in. He said to him, I didn't see anything. How could I? What are you doing inside the hole? Ramiz sat crying and saying to him, and the Prophet, oh, leave us alone, I swear to God. I will speak the letter of a man whose name is Kasban. He looked at him and said to him, you are the son of Yusri al-Sabak? He said to him, yes, I am the son of Yusri al-Sabak. He kept looking at us like this while he was silent, and then I started to tell him to be patient, Marin. This is his father. He still knows him. He said to him, what do I know? With a saying, what do you have without knowing, Other orders that we have are that if we get hold of someone, we will get rid of him. That said to him while he was fanatical, I am telling you with good knowledge, man, you do not understand anything. He started to look at the two of us and said to us, listen to him carefully, if you smell anything, it is just news like this. Did any of you talk, insinuate, or say anything about what you saw? I will finish it for you, both of you listening. We told him, are you present? Yes, I swear to God, we will not talk. He knocked a word and said, I am walking, and he went to open the door of the house and the exit. Thank God, soon, the matter has passed. After 4 months, I found Ramiz, my cousin, talking to me and saying to me, what should I tell you, teacher uncle? In Benhawi there was a report of his death. He left the house and traveled the country, and he will stay for no less than 2 days, and this is an opportunity that will not be repeated, so that we can enter his house and find out exactly what he is doing, and we can find out for us any interest from the basement. To be honest, Suleiman, I was afraid and hesitant, but he kept tempting me and telling me that if we went out and took even the smallest traces, we would pass through the flanges. Each one of us would install a story car among us, and he would stay in a villa in a clean room and he would sit and heat it until the end. To be honest, I went to him and for a second we went to jump. From the rooftops to Uncle Banhawi's house, and we went down below. We entered the room where the basement was. But the surprise was that we did not find anything in the room. The room was clean and seasoned with taha, and there was also furniture in it. We left as we entered, but I am still certain, soon, that the basement in this room. The Gopher people thought they might have told him what happened. He came out of the basement and took off his shoes. Told him shoes. Of course, Ward Salem walked away for a while, and then he told me that I was going to die and find out what was happening in this basement. 1 singer votes for 2 others. If there were antiquities, his time would have taken them out, sold them, and gotten rid of them, but this happens every year on a specific day and at a specific hour. They fear the basement in order to do something in it. You don't know what they might be doing. Suleiman, I told him, I don't care, but maybe Jarko discovered the basement, so he brings tourists and takes a decent amount of money from them in order to purify something that the whole world has not seen, that is, something exclusive, and so that the matter does not come to light, it is strictly forbidden, and he does it from year to year. Salem paused for a while and told me to believe it is really possible, soon. Okay, in general, I told you the story, and you kept changing the names and places and adding to them. Don't forget your love and don't forget to say that it is from your imagination. I said to him, he goes. I got him to the bus stop and cursed him, but the conversation he told me remained so much in my mind that I didn't know how to stop thinking about it. I wonder what it was about? Indeed, in the basement, and these people come from the end of the world and sit downstairs for 2 days. What do you do? After 2 days of that, I opened the channel's WhatsApp and kept scrolling through the messages until then, when I stopped at a message that caught my attention. It said, I am Salem, who met you in the gallery in the basement, soon, and it was written. A picture of a rotten emoji like this, and he is laughing. I replied to him and said to him, how are you, ghost? He replied to me at that time and said to me, I thought about what you told me, but to be honest, I found it unconvincing. What tourists? Uncle Banhawi will bring them every year to release the basement. And if we assume that what you are saying is true, let us know what exactly he brings today. There is something big happening in it, Suleiman, because they are killing us for a reason, because we just saw this basement. Something big is happening, Suleiman. In general, I am staying at my cousin Ramiz's house, and tomorrow at night, like now, at the appointed time, I will take a picture of the microbus and the people getting off of it, so that you will continue to believe me. Without thinking, I went to send him a message and said to him, I'll tell you what. I have a way to find out what's going on down there in that basement. He went and wrote me something. She told him, send me the location and I will come to you. My eyes were shocked and he couldn't believe it. He told me, it's not possible. You're seriously coming? Oh Suleiman, I mean, we will finally have a serious adventure together. I can't believe it when I tell him, Uncle, your mother is coming to send me the location, but Salem wrote to me right away, and at that time she sent me the location. The first time you sent me the location, I quickly went inside, changed my clothes, got out, got into my car, and headed to the location. When I approached, I parked my car on the street outside and walked for a while on my feet, and then I spoke to Salem and told him. I arrived and described to him that I was standing there for 10 minutes. I met him in front of me. He took me and showed me to Ramiz's apartment. His relatives welcomed me openly, invited me and drank tea with me, and after that, we sat in Ramiz Salem's room. He said to me, "Tell me, Suan, what are you thinking about?" I told him, "Look, Ghost. Initially, as long as the basement is closed, they come down from year to year. Surely your neighbor, is trying to lock him with a door or something, and then he will kick him and they will swallow because of course he is the best person to report him, or an intruder like you will be afraid of the house while he is not there and steal it. But since these people are coming tomorrow, he is sure that he is going to open the basement to prepare it." Haj Ramiz said to me, "May God enlighten you with balanced words, soon. Consider, we are here to find out what is there. This basement, we must remain present under them." Salem laughed and said to me, "Why are you greeting me like this, Suleiman?" I told him, "I greet you how?" He told me, "Because this is an underground basement, and you will find him at the end connecting 1 or 2 rooms with a lot. I mean, the place is in. The other is limited and their number is large, so as soon as they get down, they will meet him in their face." I told him I didn't mean that we would go down and wait underneath, Zaki. He said to me, "Okay, Amal, what will we do before them?" I went to open my bag and took out 2 small cameras. I told him, "We will go in before them, and I will put these 2 cameras inside and we will see through them everything. 2 cameras, their rings are very high, and they have flowers, and we will appreciate them. We watch everything from afar." He said to me, "My son, the player, oh soon, I swear to God you are. Prince," I told him, "now I need one of you to occupy your neighbor's house, but of course, without him feeling anything. I want everything to appear normal." Ramiz told me only. He said, "Glory be to me, I will put the little kids on him. Every now and then, they will ring the bell and run. I know very well that this topic is crazy." I told him, "Okay, that's a nice idea. And you, Salem, will stay with me because you know where the cemetery is." He said to me, "Very well, really," at 3 a.m. in the morning. Ramiz brought 3 young children to keep Uncle Banhawi busy. We are not planting cameras in the basement, and I want to tell you that these young children are not his job. No, they are so miserable that he remained a worker talking to himself, and he remained sitting behind the door of a house, hiding and sitting waiting for any of them to catch him. The important thing is that during this time, Salem and I jumped off the roof of the house and went down to the ground floor. Without him feeling like we were going down, we preferred to have suhoor until we reached the room in which the basement was located. In fact, we found the basement open. We turned on the flashlights of our mobile phones and began to quickly descend the broken stairs in the basement until we reached the end, and here we were. The shock was at the end of the tunnel. This is not a small room like we are. We expected, no, it was a big room and it was drawn up. Its ceiling was covered with many engravings, and in the text there was a large black granite coffin. The coffin was closed, and the large room or hall was connected to 2 small rooms. We began to install the first camera in the large room so that it was no longer visible, but while I was trying to install it and the workers hid in it so that it would not be visible, I found Salem workers saying to me, "Suleiman, Suleiman." I said to him, "What is it, my son?" He said, "You are hearing this sound." I was silent for the moment while I was trying to hear the sound he was saying. The sound rang out. That was acting like someone who was sad about crying so much, Salem Shawarli, about the situation she was in. To the right, he said to me that the sound was coming from this room. I put the camera on the floor and started walking towards the room. Date is in lockdown. As soon as we directed the flashlights of our mobile phones at the room, Date, we were surprised that it contained 4 cages, a large cage and the 3 The rest are the average size of this large cage, and one of them was locked inside. She had a blue robe, and she was sleeping on the floor of the cage. I started to get closer to the cage to see that the girl was doing well. The girl had long, black hair, and the color of her skin was bluish-white. She was very emaciated, and her eyes were open. Good luck. The first time she saw me, she looked at me hard and was moving her lips as if she was trying to speak or wanted to say something. I have nothing to say to her. What are you? He brought you here. Her voice started to sound healthy. She said to me, please save me before they come. I started to look at the door of the cage quickly, but when I found the door, I found that a large lock was placed on it. I started to shake the door, rigid and shaking. In the lock, while I was trying to move it from its place, at the same moment, I heard a growling or snarling sound like that, terrifying, coming from beside me. At the moment, my heart was still standing in the face of my flashlight in the direction of the sound. I heard a loud sound. I waited for Laura, and when I turned on the flashlight, why did I find that there was a dog? It is black in color and very large in size. He was locked in a small cage other than the one next to the girl's cage at the moment. I was reassured and started looking at the rest of the cages to find out what was in them. I found the third cage containing a lizard that looked like a huge reptile like that and looked like a lizard. And the fourth cage had black crows. Salem looked at me and said to me, what are we going to do now, soon? I said, you're asking, sure, we'll get the girl out. Of course, I'll tell you. Why do you turn like this with me on which iron to break the lock with? That Salem said to me, where do you turn, soon? It's an empty room. There's nothing in it. A straw other than these 4 cages. I said to him, Uncle, don't look into the room next to us. Brother, I behaved. Salem will build me up and enter the room next to us. I preferred to turn around and open the door, right and left, to open it by any means possible. But after exactly 2 minutes, I found Salem inside me, his face blue and terrified. He was swallowing his saliva. Good health, Suleiman. Come on, quickly, let's get out of here. Tell me, let's go. Where will we go, my son? The girl. If we had not taken it out with us, they would have slaughtered here, sons of Adam, he said to me while he was fanatical. And you don't understand anything, Suleiman. The cemetery guard is here. And if we didn't go out now, we would be here. I told him, what guard? He said to me, the room next to us has some pharaonic treasures, a wooden chair, gold statues, and some slippers with a lot of coins in it. I kept looking around the room and searched for anything with which to open the cage. I found something like a gold scepter. I told him, what is this scepter? He told me, this is something. It's almost like that, the crutch. As soon as I put my hands on Suleiman and held him, I was surprised by a very large, tired man emerging from among the objects. His eyes were bright and red. I told him that he was tired, so he was the cemetery's guard. He said to me, yes, Suleiman, he remains a genie or a genie, and he often takes the form of a tired man or a genie, a monkey or anything scary in general, and there is a lot of it in it. Anyone who tries to get close to the treasures or the mummy. May God bless you, Suleiman. Let us get out of here instead of all of us. The girl in the cage died at the same moment. Salem's mobile phone rang. I said to him, who is calling you? He said to me, this is Ramiz. I told him, don't answer, see what he wants. Salem answered the mobile phone and turned on the speaker. Ramiz told him, where are you all? Oh, Salem, he said to him, there is nothing wrong with this. Something happened, and we were tired, and we found a girl locked up. He said to him, what do I tell you? What do I tell you? There is no time to get things done. The people came. I went and took the cell phone from the person. I told him, who did the people come to, Ramiz? He said to me, the microbus with the foreigners. I told him, yes, my love, you are joking, didn't you tell me they are coming tomorrow? Salem said to me, don't be shy, Suleiman, maybe I got confused one day. I told him, you are an idiot, come on, are these things messed up? Get up, let's get out of here quickly. The girl was, she started crying and said to me, please don't leave me. I told her, don't be afraid, I won't leave you. She said, promise me. I told her, I promise you that I won't leave you. We hung up with Ramiz and ran to the basement. We barely made it up 2 stairs. At that moment, we heard the sound of people coming from above. Salem was terrified and said, "It looks like we are going down now, soon. What are we going to do? What should I tell you? Come with me quickly." I took him and we ran. We stopped in front of the 2 rooms. I stood there for a moment trying to think of which room to go into. Salem said to me, "Why did you stop, soon? Come on, let's go in." I forgot to hide behind the cages. I told him that it would not work. He told me that it would not work. Why did I tell him? Because if we hid behind the cages 100%, they would be afraid in the second room and he would see us, but if we hid in the second room, no one would feel between us. He told me that it was the room where the tired ones were. I told him. Oh, he said to me, "You must be crazy. You didn't listen. I didn't see the tired look that I was telling you about, Suleiman." I told him, "Please, Salem, lower your voice. Go in and don't touch anything, and he won't come beside you." At that moment, the voice of the people who were coming down started to get louder. And I also started to see a vision. It looked like they were holding the glass, which is the flash of jazz. I went and grabbed Salem by the hand and pulled him, and we entered the room where there were the tombs, date, and the pharaonic treasures. We sat side by side in the darkness. After a few seconds, someone started entering from the basement into the big room, date. These people were all wearing black galabeas with hoods or caps, and they had the caps on their heads. These galabeas themselves were all embroidered with strange letters that resembled Greek letters. They also had geometric drawings on them, consisting of medicines and triangles. They all began to gather and wrap in the shape of a circle around the granite sarcophagus. The one that was closed, and they all started to sing with one voice and in a strange language. It was the first time I had ever heard the language. The songs, were similar to Viking songs. After about 10 minutes of that, they all put the bali that they had on the ground and were completely silent. At the same moment, one of entered from the basement, but he was wearing a red robe and a cold. He had put a chopstick on his head and was holding a candle in his hand. It was black in color. He started saying strange and incomprehensible words, and after that he started passing on them one by one, and the one who was standing in front of him was opening his mouth on his own and sticking out his tongue, and he tilted the candle and dripped some of it onto his tongue, and then he did that to everyone who was there. While standing, he entered the room in which the cages were for a while and left, holding the 2 crows in his hand. He went to consult with the 2 who were standing and led each one of them to a crow. After that, he sat on his knees on the ground and took off his cape, and here we were surprised that the one who was wearing the red robe was Uncle Banhawi. Uncle Banhawi started clasping his 2 hands together and raising them up, and Amol kept saying strange things in a loud voice and falling into the ground. And then a dagger appeared from his side and turned to one of those who were holding the crows. The man took the dagger from him and began to slaughter the crow, and blood began to ooze from the crow. It struck Uncle Banhawi's brain, and after the crow cleared completely, Uncle Banhawi extended the dagger he had to the second person who was holding the crow. The second person held the dagger and brought it back. He did the same thing. He slaughtered the crow over Uncle Banhawi's brain and sat down to filter it with his hand. Then Uncle Banhawi went to consult a third person who consulted. He went into the room in which the cages were, and after a while he came out holding the lizard in his hand. He was holding it by his hand and kept walking with it until he reached the coffin. As soon as he reached the coffin, he lifted it up and began to jump on the coffin. He continued to lift it up and put it in the granite coffin without any mercy, to the point that I hear the sound of a lizard's bone crashing over the granite coffin, and then the lizard bites. Almost died, they went in debt to Uncle Banhawi. Uncle Banhawi took the lizard and a dagger from them, and began to cut the lizard lengthwise and began to eat its raw meat, with terrible brutality. Then he began to throw him on his side and sleep on the granite coffin. At the same time, all those who were standing went and put their hands on Uncle Banhawi, and they continued to sing. songs similar to the songs they used to sing when they first entered, and they stayed like this for about a quarter of an hour. He screamed in a horrifying voice. It was a strange, strong sound like the sound of a monster, and he started to stand up and jump on his leg and stand on the coffin. All those who were standing at that time started to approach him and kiss his leg. When I looked at Uncle Banhawi, I felt that his features had changed, and his face was frightening. His entire eye was white in color, and his skin had darkened a lot, and he turned from a wheatish color to black a little. Uncle Banhawi got down from the coffin, and the workers remained, wrapping around everyone who was standing, sniffing at them, and one time he ran over. On one of those who were standing, he fell to the ground, and workers kept hitting him in the face with bricks, a mule, which is not normal to a degree. The teeth of the person who was being hit started flying everywhere, and blood was dripping from a bug in an ugly way. At the same time, all those who were standing were making noise while raising their hands up as if they were happy. We are very happy about what happens next. Uncle Banhawi sat running on his own. He was twisting his legs around the room quickly, exactly like loans. He looked strange and very frightened. After that, he entered the room where the cages were. After about less than 2 minutes, we found him coming out of the room, holding a chain in his hand. At the end of the chain, the girl was tied around her neck. She was the same girl who had been. She was locked in a cage, and my eyes, she was walking on her hands and feet. I mean, even the way she got out was not there. It was actually human. It was exactly like an animal excreting. I was one of the many things I saw during the period of time that I spent. My body was shaking and I was very nervous. When I looked at Salem, I found him with his hand on a bug. He was dying from crying and trying not to make a sound. At the same moment, Salem's mobile phone rang, but Benhawi screamed in a loud and frightening voice, and he and all those who were present with him began to run into the room in which we were hiding, and they went to sleep from behind us. We are both, and they went outside and took the mobile phone from us. Then he left us and sat on the coffin, laughing in a horrific and frightening way, and as if he was intending to do evil, and he would tell us that you humans are always intrusive, you always have a love of experimentation, but you know that the experience that you are entering into is sometimes the reality that you have placed yourself in, so that you may live it for the rest of your life, Suleiman. In the past, we used to say, be one of the people with great minds, and leave the ignorant, curious people, and drink the infusion of poison from the wise, and pour on the ground the medicine of the ignorant. Curiosity has never been like Suleiman, but knowledge remains power, and I remain with me everything you yourself know. Who are you and where did you know my name from? He told me that I am the darkness inside which your soul walks. I am the pleasure that you cannot live from. Other than that, I am your destiny that will free you from all restrictions. I am excessive power, ruling authority, absolute freedom. I am Baphomet, O Solomon. I do not know. Just your name, no. I don't even know what you don't know about yourself. Tell me that about yourself. Do you know what? I told him, I don't want to know anything. I want to leave here. He told me, for example, you don't want to know who we are or what we're doing here. I told him, no, I don't want to laugh. He told me, okay, because you don't want to know what brought you here. I told him, the idea is that one of my friends knows that we are here, and he also knows about this basement, and if we don't leave right now, whoever is here will call the police. And all of you will go in 60 preachers. My uncle's heart is broken and he started to grimace. He's going to tell me what I'm going to tell you. Take your friend and walk away from here. For a moment, I didn't understand what was reasonable so easily. When I threatened him, he got scared. Salem and I walked toward the basement, and in fact, there was nothing there. We stopped and started to go up the stairs until we reached the end, and after we got out of it, we found ourselves in okay, if you would like to know what that is. It will happen, wait for me in the next nightmare. Don't worry, Ghost, the rest of the episode will be uploaded, and when we finish the nightmare, I will upload room 908. If any of you would like me to continue the Black Lego series, please write to me in the comments, because the last episode one uploaded had very weak interaction. The opposite, of course, room 908. We don't want to forget the dream. Ghosts, a million ghosts inside the nightmare. We continue together and nothing will stop us. I will see you in the next nightmare. Please subscribe to the channel to receive everything new.